Welcome. Today we're going to be talking about future-proofing the finance industry and how to thrive in what's going to be a very uncertain market. We're likely to be looking at service levels, the importance of trust, what we can do with data, and the importance increasingly of becoming an agile company. My name is William Higham. I'm a business futurist. I've worked over the years with everyone from Amazon to Vodafone. I'm not a financial services specialist, although I have worked with HSBC, RBS, and several wealth management companies and so on. What I'm a specialist on is people and business and how the changes and evolutions in the former can impact the latter. And I'm joined today by two very important gentlemen, Simon Williams and Nuno Godinho.
Hi, my name's Simon Williams. I am the CEO of Trustmark, and part of Trustmark, our quality assurance and testing part of Trustmark is the team called Acutest. We have the privilege of being a partner with FSL. I've worked in the technology industry, consulting and technology for the past 30 years. Across a wide spectrum of industries, and had the privilege and pleasure of working with a number of different companies and seeing uncertainty getting more uncertain.
Hello, my name is Nuno Godinho. I'm the group CEO for Industrial Thought, which is the parent company of Financial Software Limited, and which we also within the company, the group, we have Raw Knowledge, which focuses on knowledge and data and gathering all of that information. And then FSL, 30-year-old company that has been focusing on simplifying the complexity of managing investment tax.
Now, if there's one thing we can be certain of over the next 5 years, it's uncertainty. It's that there will be an uncertain world ahead of us. And if there's one other thing that we can be sure of, it's that this uncertainty will have a huge impact. An impact on the needs, the expectations, the behaviors, the attitudes of the financial consumer, and therefore a big impact on the financial services industry. And the companies that can identify and then satisfy those needs, those new demands, those are the ones that are going to have success. We are in a world that's much more interconnected than it ever was. We're in a world that is so linked that whether it's something taking place in Wuhan or something taking place in Wall Street, it will impact the rest of the world very, very quickly. You look at what's happening with technology, again, things are shifting exponentially. And what impact is that going to have? What impact will that have on financial services? It's going to have a major impact. Looking at some of these, investments are going to be harder to predict, which means that, assets under management is going to be a less attractive proposition. What else will happen? Cost of capital will be uncertain, meaning that will impact investment. There'll be fluctuations in currency, fluctuations in commodity prices. All of these are going to impact negatively on financial services. Plus, we're going to see this blurring of boundaries, which means more and more non-financial companies are going to be coming into the financial space and going to be trusted in the financial space. So less reliance on traditional financial services companies, greater customer self-service, less expectations in terms of revenue stream. So it's sounding pretty negative. It's uncertain. It's not looking great for financial services. However, there are some very clear opportunities coming out of it as well. Those opportunities can potentially dwarf some of the threats. And there are 4 core opportunities, I believe. 4 trends, 4 things that I want to talk through today. First one, the second one are about consumers. Third and fourth are about business. The first trend, the first opportunity is around service, customer service. The second one is around trust and building customer trust. The third trend and opportunity is around data. And the fourth is around agility, creating an agile company.
I think in the world of certainly in the world of technology, uncertainty has really driven massive amounts of change. And I think necessity being the mother of invention has led to massive opportunities for the people who make an effort and the people who see it as an opportunity. It's all too easy to sit there and go, oh, I'm a victim and I can't do this and it's not working. But you really do find certain companies kind of step up and go, right, I'm going to make a difference here. I'm going to support. Our job is to help our clients deal with uncertainty, to deal with the market, to deal with their customers, to be better. And we need to go in with that mindset of it is reality, and we need to address that reality.
A lot of the parts of the market is changing, but this is the only constant that exists, is that change will happen. It's just how we react and how we look at things as an opportunity, as Simon said, and we reinventing ourselves every single day. It's about reinventing how we deliver service, reinventing what type of data do we provide to our service, what do they need, how are their needs changing. So it's all about looking at that, as Simon said, not as a victim, but with a entrepreneurial mindset. That's the importance, is looking at this as another opportunity for us to improve.
Right. No, absolutely. I think I agree with both of you there. I think it really is, as with any situation, but particularly when dealing with uncertainty, as you said, it's about looking for and finding the opportunities rather than feeling swamped and threatened by the negatives. So, no, I think that sounds fantastic. Well, let's start off then, if we can, with the first of these, looking at the idea of service as potential opportunity moving forward into this uncertain world. I'm an individual consumer and I will help myself get through things. So therefore, how will that impact the financial services industry? I think on a couple of levels. I think one of the ways it's going to impact is because increasingly people will want to do their research before they interact in any way with financial services companies. So we'll see them doing that research themselves. What will that mean? I think what that means is that what they'll be looking for in the initial phase is enablement, empowerment. So actually interactive products and services and purchase journeys, self-service platforms and tools, mortgage calculators, tax calculators, those sorts of things, ones that really work and that are easy to use. They'll also want more convenient, more efficient products. And I think that's where this idea of service and consumer experience, good consumer experience, is really coming. So I think that's what they're going to be looking for. If you look at what's happening with wealth management, as I said, it is harder now, I think, to persuade people on the AUM situation, assets under management. It is becoming harder to do that in terms of both interest levels, but also in terms of uncertainty. So therefore, I think companies need to look at more non-interest fee-based add-ons. And I think one of the greatest that any financial services company can offer is clearly advice. There's so much advice, so much knowledge around these companies, and customers are really wanting that. They're very aware that they don't have the financial advice.
Absolutely. I think you're spot on in the importance of service. Wealth management has always been about relationships. It's always been about the level of service and relationship between the investment manager, the advisor, and the client. Customers now want to have offers personalized to them, personalized to what they are interested on, because some have stronger views on some things rather than others. Example, the sustainability, environment, and so on. So they want to see those things reflected. New entrants, Revolut, for example, Monzo, Starling, they started this in banking, and we right now have a third of adults in the UK, more than a third of adults in the UK that are only a digital only bank account, which is a massive change. And suddenly, for example, Revolut, there are others, it's starting to do the self investment. You have II investors, and you have a couple of others. So we need to, in order for companies to continue, it's about personalization, it's about customer experience, and it's about digitization. It's improving the performance that you're delivering to your customer. That is absolutely key.
I think it comes back to what you were talking about. There's an awful lot more data available out there now, and we're going to talk about data in a minute. But that data is available to the providers, it's available to the end consumer, and it's available to the businesses. That data enables them to be more informed, but it also enables us to provide a greater level of personalization, and a greater level of understanding of the customer and of the products, of the competition, and of what's going on, and of expectations. People are expecting an exceptional level of service now, all the time. High levels of personalization, and that level of service is, because it's an expectation, even if you provide an exceptional level of service, you're just meeting their needs. And that sets an incredible bar. You've got the customer expectation, and then you've got the regulatory expectation on the other side. So both of them are putting service pressures. So not only is the customer expecting you to do this, but the regulations expecting you to look after vulnerable customers at the same time. So you've driven this expectation across, and that all comes pressure onto a company. That pressure absolutely drives up the requirement for quality. So the quality of the data, the quality of how you're using it, the quality of the service, the quality of the expectation, the quality of the engagement, all relationships are based on trust. And trust is hard to grow and easy to destroy. And so those expectations, years ago, working in the world of kind of quality assurance, people would launch websites or apps or new systems or whatever, and a level of errors would be acceptable. The world has changed. Customers are less forgiving and a lot more ready to share their dissatisfaction publicly, which then spirals in terms of the customer's expectations. Then people are looking for it. We have a much higher bar to achieve and to meet these customers' expectations. So I completely agree. I think service is critical, and personalized service consistently delivered to a high level of expectation is where the world is.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, as you said, that level of expectation, I think part of the problem is because people have now, because of this sort of blurring of all the boundaries, people are now looking at one sector and expecting exactly the same from every other sector. So kind of what was best practice in one sector last week is now almost kind of a hygiene factor. So what can you do? You need to create kind of flatter, more reciprocal relationships. Yes, transactional, but exactly as you said, Simon, relationships, very much human, emotional, potentially relationships. People are actually making purchase decisions based on interactions with humans, whoever that are within the particular company. 50% of people say will pay a premium for products with regular safety standards, with exceptional safety standards. So again, they'll pay for this. Safety becoming more important. In an uncertain world, safety, insurance, those sorts of things really do matter all the more. So how do you build trust in terms of safety? Well, thinking about this, new safeguards from fraud, financial security, testing your products, having fully tested products, having the financial expertise, so making sure you're creating that safety. The other thing I think we need to think about more and more is relationships between businesses. So B2B collaborations, competition, partnerships. Already, 72% of global wealth management and private banking clients say they plan to collaborate with fintechs, broker deals, so on. So clearly, it is going to be about building these strategic relationships, strategic partnerships of banks with technology companies, with certainly non-financial companies is going to happen. It'll help customer acquisition. It'll help customer retention. It'll modernize technology, and so on.
Trust, I think, is the foundation of all relationships. And I think whether you're talking about B2B, B2C, B2E, even that is absolutely critical. It's maybe not for this stage, but it's the trust between a company and their employees, again, is absolutely critical to this. And I think it's really interesting. You talked about values, and I think so. Certainly in my head, the behavior is a physical manifestation of values. So you can talk about your values, you can write them on the wall, but people are looking at the behavior of you, of your company, of your employees. And I really like the kind of Simon Sinek why. So what's the core? What's the why? What is it your company, what's at the absolute core of your company? And that's where the values come. And that's where you get a consistency across the business. And that consistency of behavior, that consistency of engagement, and kind of drilling into the other part. So to me, there's that values part. And the other part is the increasing demand for objective recognition. And so the objective testing of that, the testing of the ESG, for example. So it's not just greenwashing. Everyone is now aware of greenwashing. And therefore, those requirements for objectivity, those requirements for either the mass market data saying these people are not trustworthy, or actually going through proper tests and measures. The same with safety. Not only is the requirement for trust and the requirement for objective testing even higher, the number of threats out there are even higher. I mean, it's not just the attacks from kind of the cyber attacks and so on and so forth, but the world, the uncertainty, the complexity, the number of threats out there means that companies have to work harder. They have to work harder, much, much harder, not just to meet the expectations, not just to prove objectively that they have achieved ESG, but also to make sure that the safety of what they're doing, that they're protecting their customers' data, for example. That is one of the biggest threats out there. And we see every week there's the threat of customer data. And for me, the interesting thing is how that protecting of it from the safety perspective, but then how will the businesses deal with it afterwards? We have many examples of businesses out there who dealt with it badly and suffered, and others who dealt with it well and benefited from it. And I think the last thing in terms of what you were talking about is this, what we call communities. So whether it's a local community, whether it's a yoga community, or whether it's an investment community, I think people like communities, and I think it's a great part of a business, and some of those communities are B2B communities, whether it's fintech community or whether it's those partnerships and those relationships. And we've had a long-term relationship with FSL, and a lot of that's been based on shared values in terms of we want to work together to make things better, to deliver a better service and deliver better quality. And I think that's where things really work. That's where those partnerships really, really work.
At the end of the day, this communities is a tribe, series of tribes. They are created with people that have similar values, similar goals, and objectives. And that's why, for example, working with Acutest, it's, as Simon said, we share the values for ensuring that our customers are getting the best possible service, that we are open about what we're doing, what are the risks, and what are we doing to mitigate. That is incredibly important. More and more, you're seeing the rise of ecosystems. You have ecosystem players, even the big tech companies, Microsoft, Amazon, and others. They have their marketplace, and they're bringing, instead of trying to be everything to everyone, one of the parts to build trust is being honest about what you can and can't do. And so in FSL, we are experts in tax. And what we do is really about simplifying the complexity of managing tax. So we will take care of getting all the right reports and so on, but it's critical in order to explain also how we get there. And then we leverage and we partner with Acutest in order to ensure that all that is tested, because that's how you gain trust.
So I think people are starting to see, actually, this data thing could really provide me with benefits if I do provide it to a company. And Simon, you touched on this already. Personalization, to me, is the key to this, because actually this increasing demand for personalization, 50% of people say they will spend more if their customer experience is personalized. As a result, we're seeing 38% of people saying now that they have shared their data in order to receive personalized offers. So personalization, I think, really is the key to this. Data, people will provide their data if they think it's going to be used ethically and would help them personalize. So personalized financial planning, bespoke investment strategies, individualized insurance products, all of these things can come out of data and providing data. So I think that's going to be absolutely key. And as I said, AI is really starting to help that. You know, the fact that we can speed up data analysis is going to create an invaluable tool for personalization. It's going to also be able to speed up the financial process. It's going to accelerate credit risk assessments. It's going to alert mortgage applicants to missing documentation, improving cybersecurity potentially. So many things this kind of speedy data analysis will enable things to happen.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Data is key. So there's a lot of people that say that data is the new oil. And it's true. Data is very important, and people are okay to share if they understand what is that going to do to help them. And that's one of the parts, is being very clear about what data you are using, what are you doing, because you have big data. From big data, you take knowledge. From knowledge, you take insights, personalized insights. And from insights, you then go and you can do personalized, actionable insights. And that's where the real benefit is. Now, it's really important to understand the data sources, have the traceability of how you do all the processing of the data. How did you get to a certain level of assumption? But this is absolutely.
I mean, I think between the two of you, I mean, Nuno, that answer, you just nailed it. Absolutely. In terms of driving it into actionable insight from data around personalization. We've been aspiring to get to the segment of one for years, and we've been talking about data, big data segmentation. I mean, I'm old and grey now, and I've been talking about it for 30 years. It's the technology evolution that's enabled it. So the big SAS and SPSS data that was all done offline, it was all done in big servers and crunched for weeks, and then it would pop out. It was almost like deep thought, the answer, and that answer would then be put into the next best activity tool, or the recommendation engine, or the segmentation tool, and it was all done over a extended period. And I think one of the biggest tipping points was cloud, because cloud enables you to have massive processing capability and processing power. Then if you start putting things like 5G, because then you can start to actually deliver that data much closer to wherever the customer is. And so each of those elements is an enabler for the capability of big data to actually add that value, and not just the insight, but also reducing the amount of time. What we find is that there's a lot of effort and time where people are taking artificial intelligence and they're looking for a use case. And it's almost in the blockchain world of, there must be something I can use this for. But the way we think about it is artificial intelligence, the main benefit is when it's embedded in what the person does as a job. So our quality assurance team is using it to do quality assurance, not just writing test scripts faster and all that kind of stuff, kind of the dull kind of, it's useful, but then looking at coverage, looking at taking it and redesigning the new process map. So we've got all the requirements enables us to then change the training manual, and to look at the organization and the operating model and the process and how things work. And it's all interlinked, but we're not trying to find a use case. We're looking at what we do as a job and how AI can help us do it better. And I think that's a very different mindset shift.
One of the ways in order for that mindset shift to happen would be to look at it as augmented intelligence, because that's what it does. It's augmenting our intelligence, augmenting the ability for us to deliver a value. And that's what's important in AI, is the ability for us to be quicker in delivering value to our customers. And as Simon was saying, is data and AI and SaaS and all of this, what enabled is this pattern where customers want to have things in real time or near real time. And that is only with the help of enabling technologies like AI, and some cases where trust is an issue, you also leverage the blockchain.
Companies need to be agile enough. The companies that are successful in the future that can pick up on these unexpected opportunities are going to be the ones that can adapt to that first. And companies with the legacy systems and the legacy mindsets are going to be ones who are held back a little bit on that. So I just want to suggest a few ways that companies should be trying to potentially adapt. And it's, you can't do these things overnight, but I think it's absolutely essential that companies are ready to take advantage of new opportunities and unexpected opportunities, not just ones that come when you don't expect them, but also ones that come out of places you didn't expect. With Simon or Nuno, you mentioned the idea of an entrepreneurial mindset and looking from an entrepreneurial point of view. And I think that, again, is really how, in effect, we're having to, companies that will succeed in the future will do it. So I think this idea of almost thinking like a fintech, thinking like a startup, how could we exploit these sorts of things? So yes, having entrepreneurial, not just entrepreneurial mindset, but entrepreneurial structure as well. A flatter structure, a more collaborative and receptive leadership style. So actually the reporting structures and the leadership are listening to each other and moving those along, so that when something happens, you don't have to go through 3 or 4 layers of management in order to be able to jump on something immediately.
Business agility is key. And it's been very important, and now more and more, because you have a lot more happening. And that agility, is it going to be easy to the industry? It's not going to be easy, because in a lot of cases, it's about rethinking structures and processes that exist for a long time. For example, in our company, in FSL, one of the things we've done in order to create agility is we now have what we call the value stream teams, which is a multidisciplinary teams that is focused on delivering value end-to-end to customers. So even though we are a 30-year-old company, we are adapting and creating based on the value we deliver to our customers. And that is critical because the level of excitement, the level of understanding for our customers, that all comes along. And it really allows us to focus on delivering the best for our customers. And it's also about having that flatter organization, more entrepreneurial, more collaborative, multidisciplinary, but it's being okay to fail. In order for you to be agile, you need to be able and get people to feel okay that failure is an opportunity for you to learn. And that's what really changes a lot from big organizations to smaller. When you're early stage, you're trying a lot of different things, and you see failure as another lesson of one way you shouldn't go, or one lesson that got you better.
Business agility, you can break that down into process agility, whether it's agile with a capital A in terms of, as opposed to waterfall. So obviously we transformed in the technology industry, moving from waterfall delivery to agile delivery, and therefore we had to change completely how we do things. Whether it's moving into shorter decision making, as you were saying at the outset, in terms of the amount of information we've got and the amount of uncertainty drives that requirement for shorter decision making. But more informed decision making. We talk about informed decision making where you've got, and again, coming back to AI, you've now got access to data quicker, whether it's external scanning around what your customers want in terms of the partnering that Nuno was talking about, or whether it's the technology, and that external data and that scanning data helping you be more informed and drive quicker decision making. It's about that harnessing technology to change your business. And it's about recognizing that the days of what's the business strategy and therefore what's the technology we need to deliver that still exists, but also the technology feeds. It's an external change that enables you to then change your business strategy and the value you're delivering to then say, okay, and it becomes a more virtuous relationship around that. And I also think the days of we will build it ourselves are gone, are dead. It's impossible to be truly agile if you're building everything yourself. So that ecosystem we talked about earlier of partners, that ecosystem of working with fintechs, whether you partner with them, whether you invest a bit in them, or even potentially buy them, it's about that ecosystem. And I think certainly we talk about this concept of what we deliver for our client of our propositions is a crown, and then we have jewels in the crown, and those jewels are often might be our IP, but it might be somebody else's IP. It might be a partner, and those are the gems in the proposition that really differentiate. And it's about bringing that together and providing that as a proposition to clients.
Simon, and then Nuno, your final thoughts.
I think you summed up brilliantly there in terms of going through the all four. I would say financial services industry is a fantastic place to work and has massive opportunities to change and develop relationships that there are with the customers, with the clients. I think the key to success is doing something rather than not doing something. And it sounds like a flippant thing to say, but I would definitely start with your why. Start with the value you're adding. And that value is often the service you're delivering to your customers. It's what is the service you're delivering that your customer values, and delivering that with integrity, delivering it with trust, delivering it in a way that the customer knows who you are and what you're doing, and that you have that foundation of trust, which builds the relationship, which is a core part of the service, which is a core part of that differentiation. Around that data provides your ability to differentiate, your ability to take the customer's data and deliver a better service, take external data and deliver a better business. And it's about that data enables you to reinforce the trust the customer has, because the more they trust you, the more they'll give you their data, and the more data you have, the better service you can provide and the better expectation you can. So it's a virtuous circle in that way. And I think the fourth one in terms of agile is a mindset. Agile is a process, agile is a value streams, agile is a way of thinking, but fundamentally it's a mindset. It's about failing fast. It's about iterative delivery. It's about going, okay, well, let's take this step, let's take this step, let's take this step. And you have to have your North Star. You have to have your value. You have to have your why. You have to have your, where are we aiming towards? And each step will get you closer. And there may not be a straight line. There may be a zigzag to it, but each step gets you closer to that. And as a business, your employees see you doing it, and that behavior reinforces it. And then your customers see it, and it just works in that ecosystem.
Right. Thank you, Simon. Excellent. I totally agree. Nuno, last thought.
So I completely agree with both of you. As Simon said, it's in terms of the wealth management industry is a fantastic industry to work on, because it has the potential and the power to invest in the right things, and which will make the right decisions for us all. And in order to succeed, what I would say is you need to be very clear of what value you're delivering, and focusing and obsess about your customers and personalization, and delivering them the best possible service, the best possible value, efficiently and conveniently where they are.
Thank you both so much for all your thoughts. It's going to be an uncertain world out there, but what is certain is that the companies that identify and satisfy those new consumer needs, what the consumer values, those will be the companies that are going to succeed. Thank you very much for watching.